Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today's Sunday and it's December the 12th, 2021. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I'd like to extend to you a warm welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a returning viewer, by all means, thank you so much for coming back. You know, I always say the tide changes so frequently here on the YouTube streets, so you have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want to tell you that I sincerely thank you for your support. Feel free to like and to share this video, and I appreciate if you take just a second to subscribe to my channel and offer me that opportunity to grow. Thank you so much. And our story today takes us to the city of Clinton in South Carolina. Take a look at the headline. And it reads, South Carolina man gets life in prison for sexual abuse and murder of a 2-year-old boy. I'll provide you with a summary here, and as always, I'll place links to a few of the full articles in the description box. And our story today involves this man. He's 30-year-old William R. Looper of Clinton, South Carolina, and last month, which was November 2021, he received a life sentence for what he did to a 2-year-old boy, and the 2-year-old boy was his girlfriend's son. I wanted to speak on this case because it highlights the cycle of sexual abuse, and it reinforces what researchers have said for decades. Children who are violated, oftentimes, which means not all the time, but sometimes, they tend to grow up and become abusers themselves. And then it shows how flawed decision-making by parents often place children in situations where they can be violated in the worst possible manner. So I'll share the details as reported on this case, and I want to encourage you to stick with me until the end, and I'll share a new indictment which has recently come to light. And this case dates back to early in the morning of June the 30th, 2018. Lawrence County deputies were called to a home on Country Lane in response to reports of an unresponsive child. Deputies say what they saw was simply horrific. They found the broken, battered body of 2-year-old Brantley Justin Smith lying lifeless on the bed. A dog was on the bed beside his body, protecting the child from strangers entering the room. Once deputies were able to secure the dog, they were unsuccessful in their attempts to resuscitate the child, who appeared to have been dead for quite some time. And here's a picture of Brantley as reported by one of the news sources covering the story. There were 2 additional children in the home, ages 8 and 6, and they were removed from the home by Child Protective Services. They went on to tell investigators about Looper punching their 2-year-old brother. They described to officers how Brantley, the deceased 2-year-old, was swung by his feet against the wall. They said they heard him screaming through the night, the same night he was killed. Authorities say the deceased child was covered in bite marks and bruises, and those bite marks were not from a dog, they were human bite marks. Autopsy disclosed that Brantley, the 2-year-old, had fractured ribs, bite marks on his body, and signs of sexual trauma, along with bruising to his torso. The poor child had lots of bruises, and his poor body displayed signs of the abuse and torture he suffered. Now, Looper was not Brantley's father. Apparently, the mother and Looper had gotten together a few weeks earlier. She had gotten off the midnight shift. In fact, they said she had been working the midnight shift at Walmart, and she had been away for most of the abuse, the district attorney revealed. Seems like this strange man, who she had gotten together with a few weeks earlier, was acting as the babysitter for 3 young children. Not only that, but he had been disciplining the other 2 boys as well. He may not have been the father, but he was beating the hell out of them. Just messed up. Just so messed up. Authorities say Looper didn't say much the morning of his arrest, but in future interviews with deputies, he admitted to assaulting Brantley. William Looper told investigators he beat and he sexually abused a young boy for 2 weeks, and he couldn't explain why he did it. Looper was arrested and charged with murder, first-degree criminal sexual conduct with a minor, and 2 counts of unlawful neglect of a child. He subsequently pled guilty to all of the charges. But before we address his sentence, let's talk about Jessica Smith, the 2-year-old's mother. As I already mentioned, she was just taken up with this man and she left him home with her 3 children, providing him the opportunity to repeatedly beat and sexually violate her 2-year-old child before killing him. There is no nice way to put it. That's exactly what she did. And Jessica was reportedly working the night shift at Walmart when her son was killed. Well, the Attorney General decided she too should be held responsible for her child's death. She was eventually charged with homicide by child abuse and 2 counts of unlawful conduct towards a child, and her case is still pending. But I can't wait to hear what Jessica has to say because, oh yes, Jessica, you need to tell us what exactly happened, and you sure do have some explaining to do. So let's return to Mr. Luper and his guilty plea. According to reports, in a negotiated plea agreement, prosecutors agreed to accept a life sentence without parole and not pursue a possible death sentence as part of their deal. The prosecutor said he still thinks that Luper should die for his crimes, but he accepted a plea deal because Luper offered to testify against his father, who investigators have recently determined abused Luper and his brother when they were children. So on November the 11th, Luper appeared before the South Carolina judge trying his case and accepted his punishment based on that plea agreement, life in prison without the possibility of parole. And what do I think of it? I think that William Luper is a monster who deserved to die. He was spared the death penalty based on his willingness to tell everything that happened to him and his siblings while they were growing up. It must have been one hell of a story for prosecutors to express a willingness to even go that route. But there never should have been a plea agreement. This is not justice for Brantley Smith. This is not justice for that defenseless 2-year-old that Luper brutally physically and sexually abused before ending his life. He gets to live, but Brantley Smith is dead. How is that justice? Help me make sense of all of it here. Now, his father may have abused him, may have abused his sibling as well in the worst possible way, but he's now 30 years old. He survived that abuse, and he had many years to report that abuse to the authorities. Why is it now that he's facing the death penalty, he's suddenly willing to talk? To me, this is just an excuse to keep his butt off a death row. That's all it is. In this instance, his father did not make him physically or sexually abuse that child before killing that child. He did that of his own free will. In my opinion, he should be on death row right now. And I don't believe this is the first child he has sexually abused. We don't know what the other children went through, but don't be surprised if they encountered similar experiences as Brantley. The news sources did say that they're in counseling, but we really don't know exactly what they went through. Nothing surprises me right now. And authorities probably need to go back and investigate other encounters that he had, other relationships, other family members who had young children, because I won't be surprised if there are additional victims out there. And since the sentence of William Luper, his father, I'll call him Senior Mr. Luper, well, he has been arrested and charged with a series of sex crimes as well. The same prosecutor has the case, and he's not releasing a lot of information at this time. But it does appear this is one instance where we can probably say like father, like son. But that case deserves its own video, and I'll do some more in-depth research, and I'll return with an updated story on Senior Mr. Luper in a few weeks. I'll also follow up on Jessica Smith, Brantley's mother, and provide an update when a decision is made as to her guilt or innocence. Now, when I was a young woman of a certain age, I remember the older folks saying, everything that looks good may not be good for you, and you'd better start making decisions with your head. And they also said when you have children, you can't be in a hurry to bring strange men around them, and you'd better not be in a hurry to move a man in with your children. Make sure you've done your research first. And don't allow any strange men to start disciplining your kids. And if you've left your kids with anyone, when you come back, talk to them and find out how their day went. And maintain that open communication so that your children are comfortable telling you or talking to you about anything. I hate to keep beating up on Jessica Smith, but she deserves it. She made a lot of poor decisions, a lot of stupid decisions, allegedly, and now her 2-year-old is dead, and the other 2 children are probably scarred for life. She will probably never be able to have any type of interactions with them. And that's all I have for you right now. Feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. And by all means, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on this notification bell right here, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.